Hello and welcome to the Watch Kaki channel, where we bring you all the good and honest watch reviews. If this is your first time here to my YouTube channel, please click the subscribe button. Come back here every week. I've got new videos uploaded just for you. For today's video, just in time for the Chinese New Year, I have these two watches from the Chinese brand Atelier Wen. In fact, I have both their watches with me from their flagship collection, the Porcelain Odyssey. I have with me the Hao, which is the white dial version, and I have with me the Ji, which is the blue dial version. This model line is called the Porcelain Odyssey because the dials of the watches are made of porcelain. Here I have with me on my left hand the limited edition red Hao, which is a white porcelain dial with red prints on it. And here I have the blue dial version, which is called the Ji. The dial is also made of porcelain, but it's got a different dial design from the Hao model. One has got Arabic numbers and this one has got metallic dots as the hour markers. Since both watches are from the same model line, the Porcelain Odyssey, I'm mostly going to use the white dial version because hey, red is the color for Chinese New Year. Let's take a quick look at the specs of this watch. This watch has a case diameter of 39mm. It's got a case thickness of 11.7mm. It's got a lug width of 20mm, thereby making this quite a strap monster. And finally, it's got a lug-to-lug length of about 47mm. The case has an all stainless steel construction with a good mix of brush surface and polished surfaces. Here you can see the top of the lugs are brushed, very nicely brushed, and the sides of the watch along with the bezel, they're highly polished. The Porcelain Odyssey also has a really nice double dome sapphire crystal, and there is no distortion at all, even when viewing at really awkward angles. Powering the Porcelain Odyssey is the automatic Chinese-made Peacock 3006 movement. This movement is automatic, it hacks and hand winds, and although this watch has no display back, the owner of the brand, Wilfred, has very kindly loaned me the actual movement that is found in this watch. Here you can see that the movement is highly decorated. It's got lots of perlage going on at the base plates, and it's got a sine rotor. This watch comes on what I'll call a bespoke leather strap. As you can see, the red dial version has got a really nice red strap, and the blue dial version has a really nice blue strap, and the quality of the leather strap is very good indeed. More on that later. The regular models of the Porcelain Odyssey, such as the blue dial Ji and the white dial Hao with blue printing, they cost $720, whereas the limited edition such as the red dial and the green dial Hao, they cost $790. Now let us go on to the design and build of the watch. Of course, the highlight of this watch model is the dial itself. The dial is made of porcelain and the printings are really nice and clear. The Hao has got a really simple and effective dial design. It's got leaf type minute and hour hands. It's got a needle second hand for the small second hands counter at 6 o'clock. And it's got minimal text. There are no words such as automatic or made in China or made in anywhere. It's just simple, the brand and the logo around the 12 o'clock position. So a bit of background information and explanation on the brand name Atelier Wen. Atelier Wen is actually made up of two words of different origins. The word atelier is French for studio or workshop, and the word Wen is Chinese, it means culture. So the brand roughly translates to a cultural studio or a cultural workshop. And I think the dial is somewhat decluttered due to the alternate printing of the Arabic numbers. You've got 12, 2, 4, 6 is omitted due to the small seconds. You've got 8 and 10. And then you've got the railway type of design for the minute markers. And this design is consistent with the small second hands counter. You also have that railroad kind of markers for each individual segment. At the 6 o'clock sub-dial, you see two Chinese characters printed. One is at the 10 o'clock position and the other is at the 4 o'clock position. I don't really know how to read these words. I'm sorry, I'm Chinese, but I can't read them. But I believe they represent the time segment. For example, this word here, it represents a time segment from 9 to 11 o'clock, and this one it represents 3 to 5 o'clock. But on a whole, the sub-dial is just a small second hands counter. It serves no power reserve function or 24-hour function. I really can't say enough about the beautiful porcelain dial on show here. You really need to see the watch in person to really appreciate how beautiful the porcelain dial is. I spoke to the brand owner and he explained to me that it is a really tedious manufacturing process. So during the manufacturing process, about half the porcelain dials are discarded or rejected because of the impurities found in the white porcelain. So as you can see here, there is no impurities. We'll try to go into a close-up shot later on. And the printing on the dial is actually very exquisite. There is no bleeding or very little bleeding even in close-up shots. The color, the red color here is sort of a deep red, almost burgundy, not the type of cheapish looking, garish looking kind of red. This is really refined. And here's a close-up shot of the porcelain dial. You can see at the 6 o'clock sub-dial position that the printing is really well made. There is practically no bleeding even using a macro lens. I would say this is really high quality work. The blue dial G has a blue porcelain dial. Again, the rejection rate for the dial is very high due to the impurities found in the porcelain, and this dial has got no Arabic numbers, but it's got applied dots, metallic dots for the hour markers, and you've got like Kit Kat chocolate bars for 12 o'clock and 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock. The G also has a 6 o'clock sub dial. Again, this is the small second hands counter. It is not power reserve or 24-hour indicator, and you've got again 4 Chinese words printed. I'm really sorry, I don't know how to read these words because they are written in a type of ancient typography. And then you can also see a really unique looking type of mini track marker. You've got a mini track marker that really looks like the type of prints found in Chinese antiques, especially porcelain antiques. So you've got this marker that really looks oriental and Chinese vibes going on. Although I'm not too sure about the legibility of using such a mini track marker. Let us talk about the case design of the watch. So you can see there are no curves on this watch. The watch has got angular sides to it. There are no curves, but there's some chamfering to the sides of the case. So you see the side here is polished. Then there's a chamfer before you see the brush surface at the top of the lux. These are all very finely made, very refined. You can see a lot of quality going on in the machining and the polishing done. The crown is signed with the reverse engraving of the Atelier Wen logo, and this is really well made. But a minor complaint from me, I find that the crown is actually too well made, too refined, too smooth, and thereby it doesn't give a really good grip when I'm trying to set time or wind the watch. And finally, we see why this watch does not have a display case back. It is all because of this beautiful engraving you see here on the case back. This beautiful engraving you see here on the case back, it is about a Chinese mythical creature called the Kunpeng. The Kunpeng is a combination of a flying creature and an aquatic creature, so it can swim and it can also fly at the same time. The machining work or the stamping work here done is really solid. You can really feel the texture of the engraving. Very, very beautiful, very well made. Even on the close-up shot, the engraving is just beautiful. You can see the texture on the feathers of the creature that is engraved on the caseback. And like the dial of the watch, the caseback has minimal words. It's got the Atelier Wen brand and also the serial number. You can see here the blue one is number 69. It's a really good number for the Chinese New Year. So even the stock watch straps found on the Porcelain Odyssey, they are of high quality. They're soft, supple leather, and I'm very pleased, I'm very impressed that they are color matched to the dial. You've got a blue leather strap for the blue dial watch, and you have a red strap for the red dial watch, and even the inner linings, they are color matched. So this one here, you've got red inner lining, and you will see the blue inner linings on the other watch. Even the sides are very well made. You don't see rough edges. Stitchings are nicely done. I'm sure they're not handmade, but they're really high quality, this one here. Now even the buckle here, it is really nicely done, nicely finished and very well made. You will see that it is signed on the inside with the brand as well as the logo. It's mostly brush finish, but it's got chamfered edges. Chamfered edges are actually polished. So a lot of detail going on, a lot of attention to the details. This is not a generic design. This is like a design that's really well thought out. And instead of the usual wordings inside the leather strap, you've got things like genuine leather, Italian leather or whatever. Atelier Wen has decided to do sort of emboss of Chinese words, And this is a Chinese idiom if I'm not wrong. I'll try to pronounce it correctly. It says 乘风破浪. Now it means trying to conquer the waves and trying to conquer your problems. So I would say this is really inspirational. Now let us do a size comparison between the Porcelain Odyssey and my good old Omega Speedmaster, which I consider to be the benchmark when it comes to comparing watch sizes. So the Omega has a case size of 42mm and the Atelier Wen has a case size of 39mm, but on first look you don't really see much of a difference. This is due to the fact that the Atelier Wen has a bigger dial opening. It's about 34mm compared to the Omega, which has a 31 or 32mm dial opening. Now in terms of lug length, they are also not very different. This one, the Omega on my right, has a lug length of 48mm and Atelier Wen has a lug length of 47mm. Perhaps the biggest difference and contrast can be seen when you're looking at these two watches from the side. Now obviously the Omega has a thicker case overall due to the fact that it's got a dome crystal and a thicker case back. And on the other hand, the Atelier Wen has a thicker mid case than the Omega, but the case back and the crystals are relatively flat, thereby giving the impression that it's much thinner watch than the Omega Speedmaster. And here's a wrist shot of the watch on my wrist. My wrist is about 6.8 inch. That's about 17 centimeters for you. Now at 39mm, I would say this watch is very comfortable. It's like more or less the perfect size for men's watch. You will never go wrong with a watch of this size. Even the thickness is just under 12mm. So it's not too thick, although it's not the thinnest for a dress watch. Now despite having no curves on the lugs, there is minimal lug gap, and I guess this makes it very comfortable and it doesn't look very awkward. So all in all, it's a really good looking watch on the wrist, very comfortable to wear as well. So all in all, the Atelier Wen Porcelain Odyssey is a really well made watch. Lots of excellent craftsmanship going on, from the nicely finished case to the beautiful porcelain dial, and I would say a lot of attention to detail has been put in the production of this watch. You can see from even the watch buckle to the strap and the materials used, I think they are really high quality. So if the beautiful porcelain dial and the really well machined, well polished case, or the soft high quality leather strap, if these things aren't enough to convince you that the watch is not your typical watch that is made up of rubbish parts or rubbish movements, all you need to do is look at the case back of the watch. Just look at the beautiful engraving. Now if I run my fingers through the stamping on the engraving, immediately I know this watch, it is no slouch. So I would say the brand is trying to break the image of Chinese watches being cheap and really rubbish with poor movements and shoddy workmanship. This brand, this watch is trying to break all the stereotype, but there's one main drawback: the price of the watch. Now at this kind of price, we are talking about above US $700 for a watch, and this is actually more expensive than many entry-level Swiss brands such as Glycine, Hamilton, Tissot. So this watch is facing big challenges in trying to change people's mindset, buyers' mindset, that a Chinese watch, Chinese parts, entirely designed and produced in China, that such a watch can command such a price. So I must really thank you for taking time to watch my videos. I thank you very much. This boy here, his name is George. He says thank you too. I'm the Watch Kaki. I'm from Singapore. I'll see you next week. Bye bye. It depicts a Chinese mythical creature called the Kunpeng, which is like a mix of a flying and aquatic creature. So this creature can fly and swim at the same time. It's like a bit of a neither here nor there, or half man half woman kind of thing. As you can see here, the movement is nicely decorated, and I think it is actually flipped the wrong way around. Alright, George likes the mandarin oranges. Hello George, oranges for you.